South Africans fought for their freedom. No country saved South Africa. But the fight against apartheid did not happen in isolation. While South Africans were fighting from within, other African countries were quietly turning themselves into safe houses, training grounds, lifelines. Some gave land, some gave protection, some gave money, some gave a voice. All of it came together to matter. Now, let's start with the countries that were closest to South Africa because they were the ones that were taking the biggest risk. Tanzania wasn't just supporting the struggle, they were hosting it. From early on, they opened their land to the African National Congress. Fighters were trained there, camps were set up there, but it didn't stop at military support. After the Soweto uprising in 1976, young South Africans started fleeing the country and Tanzania took them in. They built actual communities with schools, housing, training centers. This was not temporary help. This was building a life in exile. And it wasn't just happening in one place. Different countries were stepping in different ways. Zambia. If Tanzania was the base, Zambia was the brain. Lusaka became the main headquarters of the African National Congress in exile. This is where leadership operated from, where major decisions were made. So while people were fighting on the ground, this is where strategy was being planned. Then we have Angola. This is where things became more serious militarily. After 1975, Angola became one of the main training grounds for the armed struggle. Fighters were trained at scale, the resistance started to look more organized and structured. Then Mozambique played a different role. It was the doorway. This is where people passed through. Safe houses, entry points, exit routes. But because of that, they paid for it heavily. South Africa carried out attacks across the border and people were killed. Supporting the struggle wasn't just political, it was dangerous. And it wasn't just these countries. You also had places like Algeria, Ghana, Libya, Ethiopia. So many countries were involved in different ways. These are just some of the key ones. And when you look at it like that, it really felt like Africa coming together to free itself. Not in a perfect or coordinated way, but in a way that still mattered. And it wasn't just Africa. Countries outside the continent too were involved. Some were funding the struggle, some were fighting in it, some were putting pressure from the outside. Some took longer than they should have. But for this one, I want to focus on Africa. Because when you really look at it, the level of support across the continent, it was something else. Nigeria's role looked different. Nigeria wasn't training fighters, it wasn't hosting camps, but it was doing something just as important. It was making sure that the world could not ignore apartheid. From early on, Nigeria cut ties with the apartheid South Africa, pushed for sanctions internationally, and after 1976, things became even more intense. Money was raised across the country and support systems were created. South Africans in exile were given opportunities to study, rebuild their lives. There was even what people later called the Mandela tax. The details of that are still debated, but the support itself, that part is not in question. Nigeria became one of the loudest voices, consistent, relentless. And I know there's been a lot of tension lately. Conversations about Africans in South Africa, who should be where, all of that. This is not me trying to steer that conversation in any direction. This is just looking back at a time when across the continent, there was a level of unity. And I think that's worth remembering. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoy stories like this, please don't forget to follow me across all my social media. I tell these stories all the time. Thank you.